Morning, guys. I wanted to do a important video on when not to bail if you already have your um, plan and model created, and how not to bail on something that you see. And I almost fell victim to this yesterday. Um, we will look at it in the Aussie. It's going to be easiest to see. Yeah, let's do it this way. What we had is like I'm always saying, if they do this entire setup where they get everyone on the other side and they're committed to going in one direction, like the Aussie New Zealand did. Um, Halfway down the move, you may see something that suggests an Aussie reversal or a pullback only like a day into the move. But they're not going to do all that work and then just undo it in a day. They're just not going to do it because it's taken them so long to set it up perfectly from the beginning. So when we see this happen here in Aussie yesterday, I started mapping things out and was thinking, oh, maybe we're gonna turn. No, we're not. We have to stick to the plan here. How do I force myself to stick to the plan? Was my question. And then I simply looked at the range, added up the numbers of the move that was created, the model, the new model that was forming 2 days ago, and noticed on the overall perspective that Aussie and New Zealand are still weaker, regardless of a change in this ongoing new cycle. How that looks is we'll do it on the 4 hour, okay, just so we can see where we're at. It's up here. Here. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but just roll with me and you'll get it. There should be an aha moment, and that's the purpose of this video. It's here. All right. So what we saw yesterday in New York was price in Aussie broke this level. So did it in yen. So did it in New Zealand. So did it in Swiss. So did it in dollar. And so did it in CAD. And so did it in euro. And so did it in pound. So we know it's broken all of these levels. We know they are committed now to selling the Aussie at this point. So I'm thinking yesterday, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, hang on a minute. Where were we? I can't, hang on a minute. Where the hell is it gone? Maybe it's in the New Zealand. Hang on a minute. This is annoying. Sorry about this, folks. Question is, do I stop the video and start recording again? Or do we just stick with this? Yeah, let's just stick with this. Okay, here we go. We found it. Right, yeah, this is it. Okay, my apologies. It was in the New Zealand. So we knew all that happened on the Aussie. Same thing happened on the New Zealand, pretty much. At the same time, the euro did not do, or the pound did not do as big a range formed as that previous 4 hour one I just showed you that we were working on. That's already defined the ongoing model, that model. This is a new one that happened yesterday on the 1 hour. Now, obviously, it happens on all the time frames, but you just have to use these time frames as a zooming out perspective. It's all it is. It's just a way to facilitate, organize rather fractals. If you haven't figured that out yet, but that's kind of how we see it. It's all the same thing. Anyway, what we saw in New Zealand yen, we used this level with the blue line. New Zealand showed its strength against the yen here. New Zealand index showed a strength. New Zealand Swiss showed a strength. New Zealand dollar even showed a strength. New Zealand CAD showed a strength. Aussie New Zealand showed us weakness. Euro New Zealand showed us weakness. So confirming the New Zealand new strength, and the same with pound. So in theory, this should have been a breakdown here, right? According to what we've been doing, that should have broken down, but it didn't. Well, why not? Well, we knew it wouldn't break down. This is just a small model within a large model. We knew that those numbers are this big um, relative to this size, okay? In all of the currencies plus the Aussie. Okay, you've got this big a move that's broken down in every single one of the Aussies and the New Zealands. This size, however many points that is. It was from up here on the Aussie New Zealand. So 1,300 points relative to 146, which means that this is still in play. We could have a pullback up here and down, that it could form that. One day we'll know exactly if it's going to do that or not. But my feeling was no. My intuition was no, it's not going to happen. So we stuck to the original plan. The original plan was to sell false moves in Aussie or New Zealand, depending on what Aussie New Zealand is doing during that time. New Zealand, sorry, Aussie is. Let's just go back to the Aussie index here. All right. Yeah, so you see what I'm saying here. The size of this move here relative to this small move here across the board. Okay, that's the important thing. You got to verify it's the same shit across the board, because that is confirming that they are working Aussie and or New Zealand by demonstrating that they are willing to um, end this ongoing up move with such a thing. Now, this may be not as big as the original. This whole thing, this whole massive up move, could be a giant move up to say that we're going up. and it could be on the monthly or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. If we went across in all of them, we may end up seeing that. So it's showing us, and we could take this level and go all the way through all of the different currencies. This level here, because oh no, hang on. Which one would be good? This is your down move, right? Let's not get into speculating, okay? But let's just assume this was coming down and this was it. Price said yes, okay. Um, and here it hasn't said yes yet. So it's funny that but this may be the level. We haven't done any work on it, maybe it's this one. So this one said yes. Oh, I went on the wrong time frame. What I'm just trying to show you here is how to not get confused with time frames. It doesn't really matter because the lower time frame will still tell you what's going to go on. You'll always have enough time. The lower time frame will tell you things are changing without even looking at this. But this may be just a giant break to confirm that Aussie is going up on a long-term weekly perspective. But this move that we've had may give us a pullback down to here, and then this still maintains itself and remains valid. But we don't have time for this. We don't have time to mess around with the weekly and the monthly. I mean, if you want to, sure. But I believe that we can do all this just within these 4 hours dailies and weeklies and 30 minutes and lower time frame for fine-tune entries. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. Hopefully that makes sense to some of you. If it doesn't, then just stay with me and eventually it will all make sense. I promise you. And if it doesn't, just listen to the video again and maybe that'll help. Another really fast way we can confirm all of this stuff is just to simply go onto the all index profile and look at that the correlations and count up the numbers, and then that will just give us virtually the same numbers here anyway. So I've taken some of these Euro Aussies from here and now we've got more here. I was thinking this is the false move, right? And this is just going to rally, but pound has not moved yet. So we will quickly have to scramble and have a look at the pound index. But I think we're going to be fine yet at the moment. What happened with the CAD last night, and this is how I know we're still in trend here. We've got the false hope move up and down, and a base drop in Aussie. So this is our clue, our key right here, that this original theory is still intact. So just add and take off profits whenever you see fit, but really focusing on adding on the false moves. This is where we must be trying to add. If we don't add there, we're going to lose potential profits because those guys, the fake people, whoever they are, that are not actually real, and I'll tell you why they're not real. Because firstly, they work for fraudulent banking operations who are set up by corrupt government unelected officials on their on the members of the board, representing a direct conflict of interest. Firstly. So the company, therefore, is a fraud. They are deceptive of their customers, which means by default this is also a fraud. And the traders are not using real money; it's digital money that is leveraged up, which means it's not real. Um, then when they get to pay themselves, if they ever, when they receive their paychecks, it's just into their bank account. It's not a suitcase of cash. It's just in the bank account, which they don't withdraw. They just go and buy a fake car that they don't need, that's also on credit. And the car was created by a company that's founded under the same principles as the banks were. So by default, the car company is now a fraud too. So essentially, the car is not real either, is what I'm trying to get at here. None of this is really real. It's all just a movie, just a big film set. So these people are not real traders. What we can go take from that information is then go to the higher source, which is the sun. The sun is controlling the geometry of the astrology, and if the sun requires us to do something as above as below, we will do it below and act out what the sun essentially is telling us to do, as it wants to test new um, uh, realms, new themes during different time cycles, which is why we're seeing this peculiar transhuman movement now, because that is what the sun wants to do. It's not what the Jesuits want to do. They are simply acting out what they have been told to remotely by the sun, unconsciously. And that's what it is, because this is too complex for man to code. It's just not going to happen. They're not sitting down every night thinking, how do we deceive these people and code everything, leaving a trail of exactly what they're doing. They're not going to this. It's ridiculous. It's absurd to even think that these people are doing that. But let's not give them that much credit, because they truly would have to be utter geniuses to be doing what they're doing if man was doing all of this nonsense. We are being used, and this is a simulation. It's a movie, and that's it. It's that simple. That's what's happening. So don't take anything too seriously. It's just all a big joke, and nothing's really happening in the end of it anyway. If you just look outside, you will see nothing has changed. The squirrels are fine, pigeons are fine, and the trees are fine. And the sky is still blue. So next, what do we do here? We'll monitor this situation, and we'll try to find a reason to anticipate a pullback here to buy more. I think that's what I want to do here, on the basis that pound and euro and Aussie and New Zealand are still doing their thing. But yeah, that's it really. I think if I think of anything else, I'll get back to you guys. Here's the New Zealand dollar. That's doing pretty nicely here. The pound New Zealand, we've taken some profit and added more here. Okay. And yes, that's what I really wanted to show you before I forget. 1 second. Don't go anywhere just yet. All index, right. So it's about not bailing when we already have our heart set on something that's clearly spent 2 days forming. Firstly, you can see, say, 2 days versus 2 hours of wicks means that 2 day move is more solid. So right off the bat, you can stick to the plan, because you're going to feel how many hours you spent originally versus seeing this new potential reversal, which is not real. Okay, it's just real on a 1 minute time frame or something like that, or a tick time frame, and that's cool. It can be real there. All right, here we go. This is what I'm saying. So we'll throw this onto the 1 hour. We knew the move for the pound has gone up locally. So that's showing numbers of 89.92, okay, which would have reflected somewhere in here on a pound perspective to be pretty high numbers. And I believe the numbers were high yesterday here. So this will tell you this, and it will also tell you adding this up by numbers, okay? So where is this here? Right, so Aussie currently, yesterday, right, when we saw the base drop, it was showing us 24. Pound was showing us hundreds. Okay. LFX was showing us 70s. Swiss was showing us 60s. Euro was showing us 51s. CAD 40. Pound goes with euro. Okay. So you'd anticipate euro to lean towards the pound's positivity. If CAD does in fact start falling apart strong, then we'll have to anticipate the end of this dollar move. But we're not there yet. We want to maybe spend a couple of days working on that, to really see if when and if they are going to commit themselves to a short dollar. I don't know when that's going to be. For now, all we know is it's green. We don't go against that. But we shouldn't be trading it anyway because we missed the boat. The train's gone. Swiss 77. So Swiss is still in the positive. LFX is still in the positive relative to these numbers, but somewhat in the middle. And pound was 100, yeah, so that's good. Currently at this time, pound is 47, CAD is 42, so it should be long pound dollar. And euro is 58, so we should be long euro CAD. Aussie is down obviously at the 9s and I guess 10 or 15, 6, 0. Okay, so New Zealand's even weaker now than Aussie. So yeah, that's it. So if you get everything lined up, you should have that overall perspective. We mustn't forget where we are on the 4 hour now, but we are anticipating this 1 hour to make an impact here, and that's what we're seeing. So we'll monitor these numbers as well to verify if we are on the right side of this higher time frame. Euro, 1 second. Okay, euro is still weak. CAD, sorry, is still strong. Pound is still weak. Swiss is still strong. Dollar is still strong. And New Zealand has done something here. 26s. So if we take that number 26 and look at it relative to the rest of them, we'll still notice that the original trade is intact. However, yeah, pound at this point showed us a 42, whereas New Zealand was a little higher. So by the looks of it, the 1 hour is turning the 4 hour, but we have to remember that this is still in play and a big pullback against us at any stage could happen. But the lower time frame will uh, give us that clue if that does happen. So it's just a question of time now, really. But yeah, I hope that video helped. Thank you, guys.